Welcome back to the cutting board. Today we're making spicy tofu meatless meatballs. Basically, these meatballs are perfect because they're easy to make, quick to prepare, and they can stay for a long time if you freeze them, which I'll talk about later on. So what I did is I preheated the oven to 425, got a baking sheet ready, sprayed on some cooking spray. You can use parchment paper if you want, but got the baking sheet ready, and I've got my ingredients together. So basically, we're gonna put all this together in the bowl, form the meatballs, bake them in the oven. It's quick, it's fast, easy to prepare. So first ingredient that we have is breadcrumbs. I'm gonna use panko breadcrumbs for this recipe. We're gonna use 1 cup of breadcrumbs. And with that, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of cumin, ground cumin, into that. And then 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, which is what's gonna give us our spice. And also a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, a little bit for flavor and also a little bit for color. I have here a 1/4 cup of finely chopped parsley. The parsley is gonna give a really nice balance to the cumin and the turmeric here. So a 1/4 cup of parsley, which I chopped up nice and fine. And then we've got our tofu, 1 pound of tofu, 1 block generally from the store. Try to get out as much of the excess water as you can. And we've got aquafaba. This is what's gonna replace the eggs in a plant-based meatball to bind it all together. Aquafaba is just chickpea brine. So when you're making chickpeas, or if you had canned chickpeas, this is the brine that they're in. And that is what is gonna bind all this together. We're gonna use a 1/4 cup of that. I always have this at home. A plant-based kitchen is probably gonna have aquafaba in it. And then 1 clove of garlic. These are really small, so I am gonna use 2, which I am going to just grate into this dish here. Get all that good stuff in there. Now, this is ready to go. You can do this with a spoon, but I'm going to suggest using your hands just to make sure that everything is properly combined together. So go ahead and just get everything really combined. And the reason that you wanted to get out as much excess water as possible is so that your meatballs are not soggy. You want them to be moist, you don't want them to be soggy. Now that that's ready, I'm gonna get the baking sheet and then we're gonna make the actual meatballs. So go ahead and take a good chunk. This recipe with this quantity is gonna make about 10 golf-sized meatballs, generally speaking. So that's the kind of size that I'm going for, like that. So just form it with your hand. Go ahead, put it down. Don't press down, you don't need to press down, but we're gonna go ahead and form the meatballs, and then they're ready to go in the oven, which was preheated to 425. So we've got 10 meatballs here, and they're ready to go in the oven. Now, if you need to make a larger quantity or you wanna make them in advance and keep them for a while, follow the exact same recipe, but instead of putting them in the oven, right now, put them in the freezer, and for about 2 hours, they'll freeze up. You can transfer them to a bag, and then they'll stay in the freezer for up to 2 months, and you can still bake them whenever you need them. So you can kind of have this ready in advance if that was something you needed. But these are ready to go in the oven. 30 to 35 minutes, they're gonna get a golden color to them, and you'll know that they're ready to go. 30 to 35 minutes. Now, while they're going in the oven, what we're gonna do is make a pesto to eat with them. Something that's a little bit sweeter to counterbalance the spiciness of this meatball. A 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes might not seem like a really spicy thing, but it will be spicy. Those meatballs are gonna have a nice spice to them. So what I like to do is eat them with a slightly sweet pesto, which is what I'm gonna show you how to make right now. It's really simple. Everything is gonna go right into your blender. There's gonna be 2 cups of mint. It really smells amazing, and so is this pesto. 2 cups of mint, 1 cup of parsley leaves. If the stems are tender, you can also leave them on. Go. And 1 clove of garlic. These are kind of small, so I'm gonna put 2 in, but 1 clove of garlic, a little bit of salt to taste. I'm just gonna put a pinch in there of salt. And what's gonna give it a slight sweetness are yellow raisins. I've got 2 tablespoons of yellow raisins here, which I'm gonna put in. Final ingredient for a pesto is the oil. So we're gonna put in 1/2 cup of olive oil. Once you've got all this inside, you're ready to go. You blend this and wait for your meatballs to finish. And once that's ready to go, you're ready to eat. The meatballs themselves don't have to be served with this pesto, of course, but any kind of sauce or eating them with spaghetti. So here we go. Everything's inside now, and we're ready to make our pesto. All right, our pesto's done. As soon as our meatballs are done, we're gonna be ready to eat. Our spicy tofu meatless meatballs are done. They're out of the oven. They're still a little nice and warm, but they're ready to go. You can eat these just by themselves. The tofu kept it moist, but you can use them like a traditional meatball. Eat them with spaghetti and meatballs, eat them with a tomato sauce, or just by themselves. You're gonna be able to see that the tofu has kept it nice and moist. Look at that. That's perfect. A little bit of steam coming out of there because they're still hot out of the oven. But they're really good just by themselves. The red pepper flakes are giving it that spiciness that I'm looking for in a really good meatball. Now, what I want to do is pair this with the pesto, which is slightly sweet. So we've got a sweet and spicy thing going on. First, I'm gonna eat this. What you can do then is take your meatball, and we're just gonna put a little bit of this pesto right on top of it like this, and put some on the other one too. Here we go. And then eat it, properly, not with my hands. Put these things together here. We got the spicy meatball, which tastes really good, like I said, all by itself. Absolutely love this combination. Salty, sweet, spicy, everything that I'm looking for. This is an amazing meatball. Join us again on the cutting board for more episodes just like this.